back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts. Leah is the one that cannot keep silent during the introduction or the exit, so you hear her whispering. Yes, absolutely. Today is October 24th, 2017. Hopefully you guys saw our little bit of going live earlier. In the meantime, take a little gander. Can you guess what that is?
5 guesses.
But there's a 30-second lag, so we're not going to be able to get their guesses.
This, my friends, is Hillary Clinton.
Capsizing.
Going.
Sinking.
Down. You know the problem with the thinking ship?
With the thinking ship.
With the sinking ship?
Many problems with the thinking ship.
Is that once it begins to take on water, there's little of anything one can do to bail out.
Can't stop it.
And once it's at this point, there is no going back. We must resign ourselves that we are headed to the bottom of a deep, dark, cold ocean.
We aren't.
And if there is a cold place, a cold, wet place to go before one descends into the fiery flames of hell, Hillary Clinton is certainly on her way. Her and all her friends. Yes. All right. So
Leah's not going to yell. We had a discussion. We have a microphone on the way. But until it gets here, we understand that the pressing that you hear is on our end, not yours. No, it's still
wait.
getting loud.
It would appear that even at this moment, when you still see the tail of the ship, some people might wonder,
could it come back up again?
Will the Clintons survive?
Probably not.
Now, many of you know that Michelle and I, we just have a nice letter today, had an abusive father. Michelle and I, for years, and still do, have nightmares.
Yes, that's true.
That we still have to go back and see our father. I am 36 years old, and I still am having to see my dad on the weekends. And I'm still thinking to myself. I remember I'm in the middle of the night, and I'm like, you know what? I'm dreaming, but I have the ability. Maybe you do too, to tell yourself that you're dreaming in the dream. And I tell myself, Leah, you're an adult. You can get up and leave right now. Because as a kid, when you're forced to do something,
right,
it's so traumatizing. But anyways, my point is that you might have nightmares that even at this point, or this point, or this point, or this point, that the Clintons might come back again. No. Tell yourself in your waking dreams that your nightmares are over. The Clinton ship has not only sailed, it has taken on so much water. There's no way back. And for that, I have to tell you, there is a God in heaven. There are angels. And if there are demons in hell, and if there is evil, there is good in this world again.
It sounds like Lord of the Rings.
Frodo! Let's get to the story. I'm having too much fun. I'm too excited about this.
I actually didn't move. Sydney, I just gave her dinner.
Okay.
Let's see, it's going to get loud again.
Okay. Where do we want to start? All right. Well, I believe I should start. I'm sorry. I have the British accent has taken me over at this moment. I'm so excited. I can't help myself. Oh, Lord.
Now, I know, Leah, I'm only going to say this one more time. Because we hardly ever watch ourselves back, but the times that I have, I know that it cracks. The threshold is way down here.
We're having a cracking good time.
We're having a cracking good time.
So when you hear it crack, say, "Oh, good time." Good time we're having, right? It's cracking good time. If it's cracking on your end, it's a good time.
I like that.
That means we're very excited about something, and you should be too. It's like a cue card. Clapping, cracking, good time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is what these are the moments that we live for. Okay. Hillary, I could bring out my country accent too, because sometimes I get excited as that one comes out as well. As one of our letters said today, I hear your Oklahoma accent coming out, and yes, living in Oklahoma for 5 years, you learn how to speak with a country twang, but we also
y'all and fixing to.
We also have some country people around here too. So okay.
Getting a business.
This is an ad. Don't listen to this. It keeps playing, and I keep trying to mute it.
Entrepreneur with a
just
business.
Can you please be quiet, please? See, sometimes if you don't click off of it and you scroll it, it plays. Anyways, okay. Good news. Hillary Clinton lied. Well, we know that like all the time she lies. She paid for the Trump dossier. Now, many of you might be aware that Fusion GPS is a company. I think I still have some hay in the back of my shirt. It itches.
I'm not gonna help you.
Yeah. Whoa. Anyways,
we'll help you with your shirt though.
Okay. Fusion GPS was behind the Trump dossier. Now, what was the Trump dossier? We're gonna get to it in a second, but an overview. It was this information that was paid for to a former British spy to collect information on Trump, and specifically on Trump's connections to Russians, and it was informally called P-Gate, because as many of you might know,
it's disgusting.
If they hadn't put in such salacious craziness, then it might have been taken a little bit more seriously, but you know,
I can't take this seriously.
Hookers peeing on having Trump pee.
Trump having them pee on the sheets. That is not. If that is a fetish of someone's, they're probably a murderer.
And I think he's like one of those clean dudes.
He is one of those clean freaks.
Yeah.
So
like Howie Mandel.
You didn't like my swoop? You looked at it.
I like the swoop. I actually
you
do
kind
like
of looked
the
at
swoop.
it and you were like, I don't know.
I like the swoop. Okay, so Clinton, Hillary was just on. I don't know. She's on her little tour with her little Parkinson canes because of her broken toe. You know, Parkinson's broken toe.
Oh my gosh.
She said that the whole thing that we've been covering lately with the Comey and the Hill coming out with the Comey Rosenstein Uranium One deal, she goes, it's all a bunch of baloney, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but actually, the Fusion GPS people were called before Congress, and they, I believe, just last week, they pled the fifth when asked who funded this dossier.
Lee didn't even read that. Somebody just said, it was really funny. We're not the only ones. I said it to Leah like 3 times before we went live, but we were watching a live like Fox News program, and the lady says the Trump dossier. It has to be said the correct way, or it's not real.
I'm just the plain.
If you're from like the country, it's a dossier. We sound it out.
Dossier. Okay. Dossier. This article from Zero Hedge just came out at 7:44 p.m. and I'm actually kind of excited because Michelle and I were going to go live earlier, and then one thing happened, another thing happened, and this is so cool that I'm just glad because it's going to be breaking and breaking and breaking, and we get to be on the tip of the iceberg now. So I want you to hear what Laura Ingraham.
She's the one that says it.
Yeah, and I want you to hear this first, and then we'll kind of delve into the juicy bits here.
There she says it. Dossier.
Information that was compiled by the Kremlin. Christopher Steele.
Oops.
There we go again with our.
Found out that the Kremlin was investigating Donald Trump, supposedly. We don't know what to believe about what the salacious allegations were, but Hillary Clinton, the Democrats, were happy to take that information. This is the Kremlin investigating or getting dirt on an American political candidate. So we were all worried about this meeting some 2-bit Russian lawyer had with Donald Trump Jr. when we had the Democrats paying for a Kremlin designed, in part, dossier that was compiled by this Steele character. And then, it gets better, Jim Comey takes that dossier to President Obama in January and says, look, we have this. They wanted to keep this thing going. Until it was shut down, they were going to keep paying Christopher Steele to dig up more information on Donald Trump. So any collusion that we're talking about, I think Hillary Clinton, the Democrats, with this Steele sleazy guy, and Russia together, all of this. And now I know why they were trying to prevent this information from coming out. I guess we know why they went to court.
This is huge. This is so big. In my opinion, the Hillary, whatever else come what may, the Hillary Clinton ship has taken on so much water, it's going to keep sinking. Now, I want to go ahead and read some of the details.
How many more things can come out? It seems like their tentacles are tied to like every piece of corruption that you can possibly imagine.
Right.
This is just one.
Well, this is huge, but before this, I was going to cover the fact that Podesta, WikiLeaks uncovered, I don't know if it was a new email, I think they said it was a new email, where back in like 2015, when the story dropped of the uranium one, Podesta, somebody in the Podesta group said it's out and dropped the Daily Caller story about uranium one. It literally said it's out.
Huh.
I know, and that's what I was going to bring you guys today. That's just one extra juicy bit. I mean, this is a hamburger that has everything on it. I mean, this has lettuce, tomato, mayo, whatever. I mean, this is pickle,
onion,
everything. This is, you know, they called Russian collusion the nothing burger. I think that's like
this is the everything burger.
This is the everything burger.
Everything on it.
So here's the thing. It's not just Hillary Clinton. It's Hillary Clinton and the DNC. I didn't really have room for that in the title, but having the DNC, their finances actually connected to this dossier is even bigger.
Right.
Because they worked together. They worked hand in hand. Though neither... That would be Jasper. Though neither the DNC nor the Clinton campaign worked directly with the British spy, Christopher Steele, as he was putting his little document together. The fact that the Democrats actually funded the dossier, which includes information primarily gleaned from sources in Russia. Now, so if Trump were to glean false information about Clinton from Russians, he wouldn't be president right now. They would have impeached him. But Hillary Clinton did just that. And the whole DNC. And not only that, but James Comey, Jimmy James, whatever you want to call him. They always, it's the guy with two names. Jimmy James Comey. He, under the FBI, they continued to use this dossier that was funded by the Clintons and the DNC,
right,
to continue to investigate Trump, and he went as far as the president. I mean, everyone needs to go to prison right now. Seriously.
Send them our way. We can put them there.
So this ironically suggests the Democrats indirectly leveraged Russian sources to try and spread information of dubious veracity about a political opponent to try and sway an election. Do you understand? Are you following this? The Democrats used Russians to try to sway an election. What does that sound like? It sounds like Russian collusion, to which I cannot spell, it seems. Every time I type it in, spell checker doesn't even pick it up. It drives me insane. So, even though the scandalous accusations contained within the dossier weren't made public until after the vote, presumably waiting to see what foot the shoe would end up on, this would have provided serious grist for the collusion. I spell it like that, but it won't come up under spell check. Narrative, which we imagine would have been stretched to include the entire Republican establishment as accomplices. So, while it's impossible to determine exactly how much money was spent on this dossier, the Clinton campaign paid Perkins Coie, the law firm of the Clinton super attorney Mark Elias, $5.6 million in legal fees from June 2015 to December 2016, according to campaign finance records. And the DNC firm paid $3.6 million in legal and compliance consulting since November 15. Some of that money was presumably used to pay for this dossier. Fusion GPS. This is the organization that used Christopher Steele to come up with this P-gate. Researching Trump began during the Republican presidential primaries when an unidentified GOP donor reportedly hired the firm to dig into Trump's background we don't exactly know who that is. The Republicans who were involved in the early stages of Fusion's efforts have not yet been identified. Fusion GPS did not start off looking at Trump's Russia ties, but quickly realized that those relationships would be a fruitful place to start. This is from the Washington Post. I don't know why the Washington Post is reporting this. Earlier today, Alex Jones said that, posted an article that said that the Democrats are willing to sacrifice the Clintons at this point. And I'm excited. What I see right now, and you know what? If this is just what they call a pipe dream, it's a really good one. And I'm high right now.
Oh, stop it.
I am totally going to go down this track.
You are not allowed to make drug references on this show.
I've never been high. I've only been high on the Holy Ghost.
But you're not
But
allowed
it's really
to
fun.
do that.
Okay. You know what? I can teach you how to get high on the Holy Ghost, and it's way more fun.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
Anyways, I'm really excited, and this is my fantasy dream. It's not even a fantasy. This is a reality. I don't know what else to call it
right now.
Okay, it's a colloquism. Okay, just go with it.
I'm with you.
Not everything has to be real, like serious.
Okay.
You don't have to be real when you say pipe dream. It can just be.
But then you said hi. I was with you until you were like.
I'm so elated right now.
There you go. Use your words.
I'm in 2017. There's only so many words I know. So, anyway, what I see happening here actually is I just had a vision of a chess game in which the globalist elites have decided to sacrifice their queen, Clinton Queen group, in order to save their king, which is their globalist agenda.
Right.
What are we doing?
Going. Keep talking.
What are you doing?
Keep going.
You are. I don't know what you're doing. Oh, we have chess pieces in there. Okay, I get it. We're going for a visual. All right. Okay, so remember again, this is from Washington Post. So what I'm guessing is that the Washington Post is on the take. And they are part of the cut Weinstein off, cut Clinton off. There's too much baggage. This ship is sinking, so what do? You throw things overboard, and the Clintons are the heaviest weight. They're like the gunpowder
these are
kegs.
really stupid chess pieces.
They're glass.
They're not even,
really
they don't even look like a king and queen.
We actually had...
Here you go.
That's a bishop.
But it's not a bishop, because the queen is not in here. The bishops are smaller. Oh, wait, maybe you're right. Maybe
this is
bigger.
The queen.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not a rook.
No, this is the queen.
I think it's a rook. The rook's shorter. You're right. That was the queen. You dropped the queen.
Yeah, we actually went to Russia, and we had Russian chess pieces that we would play with. They were actually way cooler. They were like made out of wood.
They're from different sides now. There you go. There's all that for my visual.
That was awesome.
We don't play enough chess anymore.
Don't have time for that game. It's
you know what? We're playing real life chess.
Bingo.
That's right.
Bingo, baby.
Those who can't do, play.
Okay, so Fusion. Okay, Okay. Fusion turned over Steele's reports and other research documents to Elias, and it's unclear how much of it he shared with the campaign. The revelation about who funded the dossier comes just after Trump tweeted that the FBI and the DOJ should publicly reveal who hired Fusion GPS. So obviously he knew. So he's like, if you don't tell people, I'm going to do it, okay? So Trump tweeted out on the 21st, officials behind the now discredited dossier pled the fifth. Justice Department and or FBI should immediately release who paid for it. So House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, there's a little typo here, has tried to compel Fusion's founders to disclose who paid for the dossier. He came out today and said in a press conference, which I have on my Twitter feed if you want to see it, he says the House committees are going to start investigating Clinton and Hillary Clinton for the Uranium One.
This is so exciting. This is such an exciting time that we live in. If you guys aren't feeling it, maybe we're not, giving it to you quite the way that we should. But I mean, this is, we've been waiting since this time last year, specifically for this to unfold. And so many people thought, how many times have we heard, it's never going to happen? That's going to keep going off all night.
Nunes had tried subpoenaing. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
We're in a group text. That's going to go off all night.
It's fine. Nobody can hear it.
Okay, fine.
Nunes has also tried subpoenaing the firm's bank records, so they're going to do that. The most salacious accusations contained in the dossier have not yet been verified and may never will. They're not going to be. Okay? It's all just a bunch of fake information. And still, after the election, the FBI agreed to continue to pay Steele, which is crazy, insane. They are collaborating with the DNC and Hillary Clinton
and
against...
the CIA is in on it as well. Any kind of unelected group,
right?
They are all in on it.
And again, this goes to question they're trying to investigate Trump Russia, which there's nothing there. However, the FBI knew that Russia was the Russian agency with the Iranian one was doing kickbacks, extortion, and all that craziness, and they still allowed. They knew that in 2009. They pressed that Russian reset button. They still allowed that to go through. Tucker Carlson had an idiot on last night who went on to say there's no way that Clinton knew that this was going to happen and go through. And he's questioning the dude like, listen, Podesta, I don't even know if Tucker even said this. He should have. Podesta's group lobbied on behalf of Uranium One. Bill Clinton got paid $500,000, and he had to seek the State Department to see if he could do that. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. All these ties. I mean, the Clintons...
Somebody had said, hasn't Clinton been under investigation for the past 20 some odd years? Actually,
no.
Not really.
No. They don't investigate.
They evade. They own everyone. They kill off. They threaten. If you're, you know what I mean, you could get killed off.
Right.
Exactly. By the Clintons. They own everybody.
Right.
And so no, that's why this is such a big deal. It is it's 20 some odd, way more than 20 years incoming.
Right. Okay. So but the the FBI pulled out once Christopher Steele's name was unmasked. Officials also decided to withhold information from the dossier in an intelligence community report published in January, alleging that Russian entities had tried to sway the U.S. election on behalf of the Russian government. So they withheld information. Obviously, withheld. They disseminated the information that Russia did all this stuff, but they didn't say who paid for it. They didn't say. So sometimes we have disinformation, misinformation, and a lack of information, which creates a different narrative.
Why they do it. Because they knew all along the truth.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, we say this a lot on the show, but it's worth reiterating that when you are a liar or whenever you're a criminal and you're trying to cover up what you have done, for some reason, you just can't keep your daggum mouth shut. Because I gotta be honest with you. If they hadn't done the whole big Trump-Russia collusion thing, it's got to be investigated. Trump-Russia, possible collusion. Remember
Hillary Clinton would have just stopped.
It would have been let go.
Right.
But because they kept going, Russia, Russia, Russia. And so in that investigating to try to find something, they found nothing. But then guess what? The truth really is coming out.
Right.
And it's all their fault.
Right.
It never would have come out if they hadn't have tried to pin it on somebody else. But as a liar and a criminal, you have to do that. You should have just kept your daggum mouth shut.
Exactly. So we don't know who leaked the dossier to BuzzFeed and CNN back in January. John McCain was one of the primary suspects. He denied it. Fusion GPS said in court that they didn't. However, we do know that in early January, then FBI Director James Comey presented a 2-page summary of Steele's dossier to President Barack Obama. It therefore strongly suggests that it was the FBI that was instrumental in spreading the dossier to the media, most of which was too embarrassed to publish it until BuzzFeed came along and did it for the clicks. So I love this summary. To summarize, Hillary Clinton and the DNC paid to uncover the package dirt, whether factual or not, on Trump, which eventually found its way in the Trump dossier. In doing so, the Clintons and the DNC were effectively collaborating with deep sources, both among the UK spy apparatus and inside of Russia. Once Trump won, the FBI was instrumental in leaking the dossier to the mainstream media and select still unknown recipients, the same way Comey leaked just a few months later following his termination. the former head of the FBI, who was supposed to probe Clinton's State Department and the Clinton Foundation for a bribery and kickback scheme involving Russia's U.S. nuclear business, is now investigating Trump for Russia collusion instead. So, those who are investigating should be the investigated. Okay? And I often wondered, who is there to investigate the FBI? Who's there to investigate the CIA?
No, they're like the Federal Reserve. They're kind of untouchable.
Right. Okay, so wait, it gets better. There's more. Do you want to go through door number 3? King Vogel, the formerly the chief investigative reporter at Politico and currently at the New York Times, just reported, when I tried to report this story, Clinton campaign lawyer Mark Elias pushed back vigorously, saying, "You or your sources are wrong." So this is Kenneth Vogel. And he says, when I tried to report this story, Clinton campaign lawyer pushed back vigorously, saying, "You or your sources are wrong." So, which in light of the latest news suggests that Clinton was lying, which is not surprising, especially when considering the recent revelations that the Clintons may themselves have been involved in collusion with Russia over the infamous uranium deal, which brings us to the questionable role played by the FBI in all of this. And ultimately the role still being played by Robert Mueller, okay, from the Wall Street Journal. And all this is just crazy. Let's give plausible accounts of the known facts, then explain why demands that Robert Mueller recuse himself from the Russia investigation may not be the fanciful partisan grandstanding you might imagine. Here's a story consistent with what has been reported in the press. How reliably reported is uncertain. Democrat political opponents of Donald Trump financed a British former spook who spread money among contacts in Russia, who in turn, over drinks, solicited stories from their supposedly connected sources in Moscow. If these people are really connected in any meaningful sense, then they made sure the stories they spun were consistent with the interests of the regime, if not actually scripted by the regime. The resulting Trump dossier then becomes a factor in Obama administration decisions to launch an FBI counterintelligence investigation of the Trump campaign. So what's really happening is, if this is really true, then they literally have used Putin's information, and Obama himself used Putin's information against Trump. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I can't even, it's so hard to wrap your brain around the fact that they literally spun a narrative that is exactly what they did. It's unbelievable. So it's like the craziest spy novel twist at the end, which we all could tell was coming, right? But then we're like, oh, I knew it. I knew it. I could tell from the beginning.
It does kind of feel that way. It feels like you're watching a movie. It's so fake. Like it seems impossible. Yes,
I'm a little behind, but if Obama used Putin information and Hillary used that information, and Maxine said if Putin helped Trump with crooked Hillary, that would be treason and reason to impeach him, then that would be treason and reason to indict Obama and Hillary.
Well said.
Yeah, Maxine said that Putin gave him the phrase crooked Hillary, which obviously he did not. But even if Putin's behind this information, which I don't believe Putin is, it's all so weird. We know of a second, possibly even more consequential way the FBI was effectively a vehicle for Russian meddling. Get this. The FBI was the vehicle for Russian meddling in the U.S. politics. Authoritative news reports say FBI Chief James Comey's intervention in the Hillary Clinton email matter, get this, was prompted by a Russian intelligence document that his colleagues suspected was a Russian plant. What is Comey doing collaborating with the Russians? It just boggles my mind. And so every time we hear the word Russia now come out of Mueller or Comey or the CIA guy, their names I
can never remember the CIA guy's name.
So you got 6 ways till Sunday to take you out. Okay, so Mr. Mueller was a former close colleague and leader, but no longer part of the FBI when these events occurred. This may not make him a questionable person to lead the Russian meddling investigation in which the FBI's own actions are necessarily a concern. But now we come to the Rosenthal disclosures last week in The Hill, a newspaper that covers Congress. Here's another story as plausible as we can make it based on credible reporting. After the Cold War, in its own interest, the U.S. wanted to build bridges to the Russian nuclear establishment. The Putin government, for national or commercial purposes, agreed and sought to expand its nuclear business in the United States. Ah, yes, the Clintons' own Russian collusion narrative, which recently emerged to the surface and which, as of today, is being investigated by the House. The purchase and consolidation of certain assets were facilitated by Canadian entrepreneurs who gave large sums to the Clinton Foundation and perhaps arranged a Bill Clinton speech in Moscow for $500. A key transaction had to be approved by Hillary Clinton's State Department. Now, there is a witness who is under a gag order who says he can prove all of this. But he's under an FBI gag order. Now, you have to wonder, why would the FBI have him under such a gag order that he couldn't even talk to members of the House, even in a closed room? Because it would implicate the deep state in the FBI.
Right. Now, the quote that you had given was a Chuck Schumer quote. Everybody kept saying Schumer, but that's not the name of the guy of the FBI. Leah was just quoting that. He was talking about the CIA. That's what he was saying, that they have 7 ways from Sunday to take it out. All right, hang on, though. There was a comment earlier I had wanted to read because I liked it. Not that I don't like all of your other comments. They're fantastic. But Sheldon says the military-industrial complex and the deep state are one and the same. Clinton was the last piece in an end-run play that obviously failed. Now they are going for civil war as the end game.
They're going to lose.
They are going to lose. And I'm telling you guys, we are living in a very exciting time, regardless of...
Who sunk Clinton's battleship?
We have that game too.
God.
Regardless of how Trump does, one way or the other, we as the people are winning when the corruption comes out against the deep state. And the CIA and the FBI and the NSA and Homeland Security and you name it, when they all go down, we win, regardless of anything else that happens out of this administration.
So, as the Wall Street Journal correctly notes, for anyone who cares to look, the real problem here is that the FBI itself is so thoroughly implicated in the Russian meddling story. Now, I know why my British accent keeps coming out. It's Sherlock Holmes, COUC. This is the case for Sherlock Holmes.
I have to tell you, the other day when I went to read Dr. Charles' comment,
Watson.
Thank you. Yeah, because obviously you're into the drugs, so we all know Sherlock Holmes. I had wanted to have like glasses and a pipe.
And a pipe.
And I thought nobody has even Uncle Jack. I went in there and I was like, "Do you have like a smoking pipe?" You know, men keep these kind of things if you don't use it. It's like kept away in a nice little box. No, nobody's got I told Kansas you got to make me a corncob pipe or something so I can do my British Sherlock Holmes, rendition for a shtick.
Okay, we just have a little bit more of these juicy bits to get over. Every single bite is well worth chewing. Okay. So we shift the focus up to the person who was and again is in charge of it all. The former FBI director, the current special prosecutor, Robert Mueller. The agency, when Mr. Mueller headed it, soft-pedaled an investigation highly embarrassing to Mrs. Clinton, as well as an Obama-Russian reset policy. They soft-pedaled it. They knew it was there. Remember, there is proof. There are people that have gone to jail, as Jeff Sessions said. Sessions said. She's thrown down on the
No, you didn't get it right.
That over this already. They knew about it. They knew about the craziness going on.
So Sharon says that Tucker Carlson tonight revealed an anonymous source he sat down with earlier. It was explosive and worth showing the video. Maybe we can find that in a little bit and we'll show it.
Well, Tucker Carlson is.
From
It should
tonight.
be up. It should be up. He closed it at 8 now. Comes on at 8 now. We know. I never watched Tucker live, but sometimes we watch him on YouTube after he's done. Comes up on YouTube. We have cable. We just don't watch it live. I hate commercials. We have cable for Uncle Jack. We don't watch TV. Just FYI, turn off your TV. Don't pay for cable. It's stupid. My uncle watches old movies. All right. So, anyways, Mueller. More recently, if just one of two things is true, Russia sponsored the Trump dossier, or Russian fake intelligence prompted Mr. Comey's email intervention, then Russian operations, via their impact on the FBI, influenced and continue to influence our politics in a way far more consequential than any Facebook ad. The preoccupation of John McCain, who apparently cannot behold a mountain if there's a molehill anywhere nearby, which means that Mr. Mueller has the means, motive, and opportunity. Come on, I have to read this. This is Sherlock Holmes.
Do it.
To obfuscate. I can't. It's not coming out. Obfuscate. Obfuscate. You say it. You
Where
say
is
it 5
it? I need
times.
to-
Obfuscate. I know the word. I just can't say it.
Obfuscate. Spit. What? I know. It's like in my head. I hear it just fine. Obfuscate. You were saying it, I'm like, I could totally say that just fine. Obfuscate.
Yes.
Obfuscate.
It's pho, not foo. That's the problem.
Obfuscate. Obfuscate.
Pho.
Obfuscate.
There you go. And distract from matters embarrassing to the FBI, while pleasing a large part of the political spectrum. Now, we have not called Mueller mother, as Nancy Pelosi did with Joy Reid the other day. I was going to bring up that clip. She can't speak, and she says, Mueller, which was hilarious.
She's like
the mother.
She's like saying he's like
Mama.
Merkel.
Yes.
Mummy.
Okay. Sorry. We're silly. It's late at night. Where am I?
I'm
after
at
obfuscate.
Obfuscate.
There we go. There's the okay. Okay, embarrassing to the FBI while pleasing a large part of the political spectrum. He need only confine his focus to the flimsy, disingenuous, but popular with the media accusation that the shambolic Trump campaign colluded with the Kremlin. Mr. Mueller's tenure may not have bridged the two investigations. However, you guys, remember these names. Hopefully we'll see them off the case and maybe a little orange themselves. James Comey, Rod Rosenstein, Andrew Weissman, and Andrew McCabe. Mr. Rosenstein appointed Mr. Mueller as special counsel. Mr. Weissman now serves on Mr. Mueller's team. Mr. McCabe remains deputy FBI director. All were involved in the nuclear racketeering matter and the Russian meddling matter. So what they have really done here with the Trump-Russia thing is it's just shifting a bunch of papers, doing some work today, collecting my $500 a day check, $500 a day check. Somebody I think our Congress people get like $450 a day or something like that. Yeah. The punchline: it's not the Clintons that should be looked at least not at first. Their time will come. It's the FBI.
Donna says the truth shall set you free. Not so much for them.
By any normal evidentiary, probative, or journalistic measure, the big story here is the FBI. Its politicized handling of Russian matters, and not competently so. To put it bluntly, whatever its hip pocket rationales along the way, the FBI would not have so much to cover up now. If it had not helped give us Mrs. Clinton as Democrat nominee, and then, in all likelihood, inadvertently helped Mr. Trump to the presidency. We eagerly look forward to Trump's furious tweet storm once he learns of all of this and how long before he fires Mueller, in this case, with cause.
Please, God. All right, so I don't know how many times I have, while Leah's reading this, I just have this contented sigh. I feel warm and fuzzy. We have apple cider on the stove, and the wood burning stove in the basement is going. You just feel warm and fuzzy.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping.
Mueller's gonna get rid of... No, Trump is gonna get rid of Mueller and everyone else that wasn't supposed to be there. We can always hope that everybody else goes to. Leah and I were talking about this.
So good. Mamma mia, mamma mia.
Leah and I were talking about this on a dog walk today, or maybe it was yesterday.
When you're happy, you
how
just sing.
unfortunately it is kind of scary that Trump hasn't gotten rid of a lot of people that should be gone already.
Yep.
And I'm kind of hoping that this is the
I'll try to find your deal. If it's that good, we'll play it.
the first of many where they have to go. Mueller can't stay after this. And so I'm hoping that there will be something on Kelly, something on Jared, and even Ivanka that is they're going to just be gone. They cannot stick around because something this explosive comes out. And so I'm terribly excited because, like you said, Trump had all of the awesome, crazy people lined up. All of the correct people ready to be in place. And somehow they systematically kicked them all out.
We were talking about, I was going to bring you guys some stuff on Federal Reserve and gold standard tonight. But he had a libertarian guy who was for the gold, going back to the gold standard, that he had lined up for Secretary of Treasury. However, he picked that Goldman Sachs guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had a bunch of crazy people, we call them the crazies, lined up. He had, the only one that got through was the EPA guy. And I think his Betsy DeVos pick, because she DeVos, she actually runs. So is this your source? I need to know. Is this your source? The black guy?
You're racist.
I know. It's called identifying somebody. Best way to do it.
Yes, exactly.
How
all right, though,
they appear.
hang on, though. Before we move on to this, because I don't want to lose this comment, and the comments go so fast, sometimes I lose them. Mark says, so in the Bundy trial today, corrupt and fired BLM agent Dan Love said he was getting his orders to attack the ranchers from Washington, D.C. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit. We haven't done a lot on that in a while.
So I told you that. I told you that Manafort used Podesta's firm to lobby. So I'm guessing... and then yes, they're investigating the Podesta group. I'm guessing this is your dude.
I think so. It's got to be. It said the real Russian scandal.
Oh my gosh! And this is another story. Some idiot was throwing Russian flags at Trump, saying that he needed to be impeached. But James O'Keefe showed this particular guy he had been investigating, and he posed as a right-wing conservative. I know. Anyways.
A protester at the Capitol today, he threw Russian flags at the president and then shrieked about treason.
How did this man get this close to Donald Trump? And how did something get thrown at the president that close?
That's a very good question.
The Secret Service, that could be laced with anthrax. Those could be anything.
Right. Good point.
The Secret Service dropped the ball on that. I mean, seriously, somebody that animate against the president got that close to the president, didn't get taken down, didn't get shot.
They should have tackled him.
You can't get that close to the president and yell things at the president without getting shot.
You can't throw things, even if they're
We don't
tissues.
know what kind of weapon you're brandishing.
He should have been tackled after the first time.
Why is that police guy just turning around? No, you tackled the guy if he's yelling at the president. If somebody, I don't care if you don't like the president, okay? You're not allowed in today's day and age. I couldn't even go that near to Obama. I would expect to be shot.
Yeah, no, seriously though, they should do enough research on like resistance chicks. They wouldn't let us near somebody like Obama.
Well, at this time, we don't know very much about the protester. He certainly looks demented. Maybe he is. On the other hand, maybe he's not. Maybe he just believed everything he sees on cable news. When the entire
he works for Bob Kramer and that whole resist movement.
Right. That they hijacked the name of.
A year pushing ludicrous conspiracy theories about treason and Russian interference in the election. You've got to expect that some people are going to take them seriously. Maybe he's been watching.
I am going to go ahead and show you who this guy is, because it's really kind of weird. He's a bad dude. I think I could just bring him up on. I tweeted him out, but I think I could bring him up. I'm sure James O'Keefe tweeted
Deccan
him
agrees.
out.
The Secret Service should have taken that guy down. Rip Baza says, I love Trump's reaction, though. Good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He just must know the angels are following him. I would just have been duck and cover. Okay, so he says this. His name is Ryan Clayton. And he tried to set Ryan Clayton up. James O'Keefe says he must have entered a federal building using false pretenses. I'm sure they'll sentence him to 3 years of probation and call him a criminal. Ryan Clayton is a known quantity. The real question is, how did he get in today? Doubtful he had press credentials.
Right. That's kind of the big question.
Right.
Was the public allowed in?
I don't know. So this is this activist.
During our investigation into the Trump inauguration protests, one of our journalists set up a meeting with Ryan Clayton of Americans Take Action.
Let me give you like an example scenario.
Okay.
Right. So, say Mr. Simon gives us $50,000. What we do is hire a bunch of volunteer organizers.
This is the long version, but what happens is afterwards, Clayton and a bunch of other people track down and not track down, but follow this poor undercover girl and harass her.
So Beth says, what reporter snuck him in? That's a good theory. You would think that they would know which reporter it was. CNN is my bet.
So this is this guy. He's known is what I'm trying to tell you. He's known. He had to
be under some sort of alias
with
or something.
Americans for Action or whatever. I forget. So.
License against U.S.
Oh wait,
law.
back here.
In fact, with the Uranium One story, it's been carried on no other networks with one minor exception. There is evidence it's not fake news. It is a real story. Rory Murdoch has been covering it carefully. He's a contributing editor at National Review Online, and he joins us tonight. Rory, I don't think I'm making that up. This story
you said that Tucker had on an anonymous guy? Do you know when he had?
No, somebody that was previously anonymous, and then I think they made it known.
Did they have him on? Because it says source. Maybe they were just talking about the source. We'll play a little bit.
And Family Foundation.
Absolutely.
At around the same time that Hillary Clinton's State Department okayed the deal. Now, look, I'm not alleging criminality here, but I'm noting the obvious, which is what? How can that not be a legitimate line of inquiry for journalists?
And, maybe after looking into it, it turns out it's really more innocent than it is. I don't think so. But, yeah, at least look into it. And I'm glad to see that the House Intelligence Committee and I believe the Senate Judiciary Committee are now going to look into this. They've not held a hearing on Uranium One yet. And these are the Republicans who control Congress. I find that astonishing. So I'm glad that they finally look like they're going to hold hearings on this. I believe they're trying to get the gag order lifted on this confidential witness, this businessman who actually was cooperating with the FBI in all of this. He was put under a gag order by the Obama administration, so he actually wouldn't talk to Congress. Imagine that. So they're trying to get that gag order lifted. It should be lifted since, of course, Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch are no longer running the Department of Justice. That's now the job of Jeff Sessions, the Donald Trump administration. So that gag order should be lifted right now, and that person ought to be able to come forward and tell us what he knows.
Really quickly, is there any legitimate reason for keeping someone like that under a gag order? And is that constitutional in the first place? How can the executive branch say to the Congress, we don't want this guy to talk, therefore he can't talk? Is that allowed in a democracy?
No, the Congress is a totally separate and equal branch. They have every right to bring him in and learn from him what they can so they can do their jobs. I don't think they knew about this guy. The thing is that it's not like they wanted to get him and then they gagged him. I think they had him so under wraps that they didn't even know this guy existed until probably last week, which is extraordinary. That all this was going on and the congressional oversight that should have taken place while Russia gained control of 20% of the United States supply of uranium, and the Obama administration kept the Congress in the dark on this, which I think is extraordinary. What were they hiding?
I mean, it's not like 20% of our national supply of string cheese. It's uranium. I mean, that's inherently...
or cashews or bacon. No, this is the stuff that
now you're getting closer
I guess bacon, we would be concerned about that. This is the stuff people use to create nuclear weapons. This is serious stuff, and now some of it appears to be leaving this country. This is deadly, deadly stuff. This is potentially life and death, and I really wish that the media would be awake about this rather than continue to snore on channels other than this one.
Well, Congress certainly is, and we're going to get to that right now.
So Sharon says to start the show from the beginning, so I'm guessing it might be at the very introduction.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We're beginning tonight with a story we just learned a few hours ago, a story that amazed us. Last night in this show, we told you about how the Podesta Group, a lobbying firm co-founded by Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman John Podesta and his brother Tony, had been sucked into independent counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of alleged Russian interference in American politics. Before last night's show was even over, we got an email from a man with direct personal knowledge of that story. The man, whose name we can't reveal for the time being, is a former senior employee of the Podesta Group. He worked there for years. He said he was motivated to contact us by the disgust he felt watching media coverage of the Russia story. Not only were most reporters getting it wrong, he said, they were getting it backward. The Russians were, in fact, deeply involved in American politics, but the real story had almost nothing to do with the 2016 presidential campaign. Well, intrigued, we agreed to meet with that source today. He just left our offices here in Washington a couple of hours ago. The story he told us is astonishing. We'll be following up on it, confirming more of it, and bringing you details throughout this week and after. But first, here's an overview of what he told us. Media reports describe Paul Manafort as a central figure in the Russia investigation due to the several months he spent as Donald Trump's campaign chairman. According to our source, that's only half true. Manafort is indeed at the center of this investigation, but not because of his ties to Trump. In fact, Paul Manafort spent years working with the Podesta Group on behalf of Russian government interests. That relationship extends back to at least 2011, when our source claims Manafort had dinner in Washington with both Podestas, Tony and John. In the years following, our source says he saw Paul Manafort in the Podesta Group offices, quote, all the time, at least once a month. Manafort was not there to socialize. He was representing Russian business and political interests who sought to influence Capitol Hill, Hillary Clinton's State Department, and the Obama administration. Our source describes Manafort bringing what he called a parade of Russian oligarchs up to the Congress, where they met with members and their staffs.
It's right there.
But the central effort to extend Russian influence was focused on the executive branch, the Obama administration. The vehicle through which Paul Manafort worked for the Russians was a shell group called the European Center for a Modern Ukraine. Now, the group supposedly was based in Belgium, but it had no actual offices there. It had, in fact, only 2 employees, both of them based in Ukraine. Their telephone number in Brussels rang in Kiev. It was a sham. Yet it did have a presence here in Washington. The European Center for Modern Ukraine was a major client of the Podesta Group. Now, why did the Russians choose the Podesta Group? Well, because both Podestas were close to the Clintons, and Hillary was then Secretary of State. She could get things done for the Podesta's Russian clients. It was influence peddling, the most obvious kind. For example, our source says that at John Podesta's recommendation, his brother Tony hired a man named David Adams. Now, before joining the Podesta Group, Adams worked at the State Department as Assistant Secretary of State for Legislative Affairs. He was also Chief Legislative Advisor to Hillary Clinton. As part of his job, Adams personally briefed Hillary Clinton every day. He aided in the confirmation of at least 122 political nominees at State. By hiring him in 2013, our source says, the Podesta Group got a direct liaison between their offices, and by extension their Russian clients, and Hillary's State Department. Sometimes, our source said, ties between the Podesta Group and the Clintons were explicit. Tony Podesta spoke regularly to Hillary Clinton while she ran the State Department. Our source remembers Podesta's assistant announcing that, quote, Secretary Clinton is on the line. At one point in either 2013 or maybe early 2014, our source says a meeting was held that included both Tony Podesta and a representative of the Clinton Foundation. The explicit subject of that meeting? How to assist Uranium One. That's the Russian-owned company that controls 20% of American uranium production and whose board members gave more than $100 million to the Clinton Foundation. As our source put it, quote, Tony Podesta was basically part of the Clinton Foundation. Now, apparently there was not a lot of pretending about this internally at the Podesta Group. According to our source, Manafort was clear, crystal clear, that Russia wanted to cultivate ties to Hillary Clinton in the belief she was likely to become president. These links to Hillary were apparently quite valuable to the Russian. Our source believes that the Russian money Manafort funneled to the Podesta Group greatly exceeds the roughly $1 million they were officially paid. That's what he said. Some of these payments, he indicated, could be hidden kickbacks that would be hard for investigators to trace. Our source described the Podesta Group's books as, quote, a treasure trove and highly secret. He told us the Podesta Group had no board overseeing it and that all financial decisions internally were made by Tony Podesta personally. The group's employees, he said, included a person whose only official job was managing Tony Podesta's art collection. It would be obviously pretty easy for an organization like that to conceal financial transactions. Now, the source we spoke to has been interviewed extensively by Robert Mueller's independent investigators. In press accounts, Mueller's investigation is still framed as a hunt for collusion between Donald Trump's presidential campaign and the government of Russia.
Well, it came out today or yesterday that Podesta is now part of the investigation. I am just enthralled right here.
The source says investigators are in fact very interested in Manafort's behavior while he ran the Trump campaign, but otherwise that description is mostly bogus. The investigation has broadened now to determine which people and which organizations in Washington have spent years working secretly as de facto operatives on behalf of Russian government and business interests. The Podesta Group is chief among these. Quote, they are more focused on facilitators of Russian influence in this country, says our source, than they are on election collusion. The Podesta Group, he says, quote, is in their crosshairs. Now, we should note the obvious, which is that many of the lobbying efforts our source described to us today are not yet illegal necessarily, and that tells you a lot about modern American politics. But if true, the story we heard overturns much of what we think we know about Russian attempts to influence American policy. We believe our source is telling the truth. We don't think he has reason to lie to us. The facts we've been able to check have turned out to be accurate. We believe our source has exposed behavior that undermines this country, but that unfortunately is common here in Washington. We plan to proceed carefully as we report this out, but we will proceed bringing you everything we find.
That is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, we can just stop here.
We usually catch up on Tucker and sometimes Hannity after we go live.
Yeah.
But thanks to, I think it was Sharon who suggested it.
That we were able to bring that.
Yeah, that was a perfect addition. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Ashley. She's one of our dearest friends. I should say hello to everyone as they come in, and I'm sorry that I don't, but I see you. Guys.
This article from Zero Hedge, I was going to originally bring you, seems like old news. I mean, this came out this morning or yesterday, last night. But basically, the talking points are shifting. The Russian-related talking points of Democrats, they're shifting, and there's nothing more to say.
Here's what I think is happening.
Yeah, I have these.
There's the corruption in the Democrats. And as with any criminal, mafia, gang, whatever you want to name it, when you sense that the ship is going down, like we showed you at the beginning of the segment, you start to think, I got to cover and look out for number one.
Right.
And if that means that I have to oust out other people along the way, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And so it's kind of like with Harvey Weinstein. One person comes out and says, well, he did this to me. And then everybody else is kind of coming out and be like, well, I have to come out and say something now, too, because I have to clear my conscience. I have to protect myself. I have to make sure that I'm not going to be caught in all of this. So it's really exciting. This is going to be, I think, the first of many people, because you have to understand that in this level of corruption, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people that know these things are going on, that are privy. I have a letter, we're not going to read it tonight, probably tomorrow, from Bill, who was literally there when Robert Kennedy was shot. And to me, that blows my mind. We have a viewer who was there in the room, who was never interviewed because they weren't interested.
From what I remember, that he was also friends with and in this inner circle of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, Bill was.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a small world. Okay, but there are people all over America specifically that know that we're in on this corruption, and they are going to start popping like popcorn. to protect themselves.
Right.
I think. So I think this is a really exciting time. I'm so excited.
Yes. Speaking of corruption, I want to bring you a couple little things that I found interesting with Weinstein. The funny one about Woody Allen, let me bring you a second. This Oscar-winning director-writer Paul Haggis suggests Hollywood pedophilia cover-up. He says that Hollywood may be covering up the serious allegations of child sex abuse amid the continued industry fallout from the scandal surrounding decades of allegations of sexual misconduct. Now, Corey Feldman, he's in a band, and he was arrested for drug charges. It turns out that one of his bandmates had
medical marijuana in the car.
Exactly.
And so they chose that as a premise to raid Corey's home and then arrested him.
Right. So he did the movie Crash, and he said that while much of Hollywood's self-examination in the wake of the Weinstein scandal has been about the entertainment industry's treatment of women, he would not discount the numerous allegations made by former child stars Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. And I think he's the director who said that he was kind of sickened by Hollywood. And he says Elijah Wood says there's a lot of vipers in the industry. So there's that angle to it. I want to bring up, you know what I'm just going to do? This is going to...
I love that you're on... okay, that's Red Pill Black.
I wanted to look up Red Pill Black because you guys had... I wanted to see what you guys were talking about with, like, maybe she has that doxing site still up. And I was helping Mom bring in plants today, and we were playing InfoWars. I was playing her clips. And my sense that I'm a pretty good judge of character. My sense is that she is genuine, that she does believe that she's smart, and she does believe that she has a voice, and I believe that she has been red-pilled.
And that's the thing.
But does she have to be red-pilled in every single area? I don't believe that she has infiltrated the conservative movement to try to bring it down. I believe that she is trying to red-pill black people because most of them have been pulled along and it's not their fault because it's what we're taught in public school.
Right.
So if you believe your teachers and it makes you angry, and it's really hard to let go of anger and victimhood when somebody is constantly telling you you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim.
So what Leah's referring to is earlier we did a little live segment. You can go back and watch it, talking about the SJWs freaking out because of cultural appropriation and Halloween costumes.
Right.
But during that, people were saying, "Can you have you seen Red Pill Black is on InfoWars?" And here's the thing. Katie Johnstone, who had originally written an article about uniting the right and the left with Leah and I because of our Ban Alabed video that we had done, or expose, and she was all for collaboration.
Right.
And then she got attacked by the left. You cannot join with the right. We can't just agree to disagree on certain subjects. And so she really had to shut down that movement that I feel was God inspired. And so I really want to encourage you guys, don't do that same thing, okay? Because as libertarian minded people, we really can come together with those on the left that are red pilled. Guess what, guys? You can be on the left and still be red pilled to the deep state, to globalization, etc., etc., etc. So that's what Resistance Chicks is about. We're not trying to bring you right versus left. We're trying to bring you wrong versus right, or right versus wrong, and to uncover the globalist agenda.
What Michelle just said, don't be like the left.
Right.
Just don't do it. You guys are better than that. We're better than that. If you find in one tiny area that you see something clear with someone else, join with them on that.
Right.
Because if that is an important issue, maybe it's abortion, maybe it's the Federal Reserve, maybe it's public schools, maybe it's something, maybe it's farming, okay? Find common ground with people, because that's how that's how we're human.
Right.
That's humanity. That's how we compromise. Even Rand Paul talks about, he stands his ground, but he's willing to compromise. The left doesn't compromise in anything because they don't have the elitist left, or whatever
Sorry,
you want
I'm
to
playing
call
a video.
them.
I shouldn't.
Oh,
sorry, guys.
don't mess around with things.
It plays in the background, even though I can't hear it. But we were talking about somebody that I think a lot of people don't know who she is, and I was wondering if you could just give them 20 seconds. Just to understand who she is. Go to her. I had her Twitter page up, and then it started to play. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Red Pill Black is a girl who, she's a black girl who was, she was red pilled after being treated horribly by other.
Any video would work. That one was fine.
We'll just play this one. Okay.
Fast Hollywood. It's like 1 minute you're up there singing and tap dancing, mocking everyone from your moral high ground, and the next minute, bam! The world discovers that you've been covering up for a serial rapist. America voted for a misogynist, said every actor and actress everywhere just after they had got finished smooching up to Harvey Weinstein. We know, celebrities, this is different. If we've learned one thing from your undying support of Woody Allen and the Clintons, it's that rape is totally fine so long as it's financed by globalists.
Thank you, Hillary, for being a constant beacon of strength, hope, and determination for me and millions of other young women.
This really hurts
You've
me.
been a role model and an inspiration and the voice of reason.
It looks like Hillary's trying to come up with tears here or something like that.
Sniffle. The point is that I was really hoping that Bill Clinton, a rapist, would be in the White House. You taught us that women can be raped so long as it's by your husband.
I love it. So now you have a little bit of an idea of who she is.
Dude, this
those of you
girl's
that don't
awesome,
know.
and I don't care if she says some things that you don't like. I mean, dude, Cernovich is odd to me. Pasovic says weird things. Paul Joseph Watson drops an F-bomb every other word.
She swears too, though.
She does
Not
too.
Leah. Red Pill Black.
But there are things, but there's like an essence that you get from people, and
Right.
she's cool. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. Back to my favorite, Woody Allen. I'm over the moon with this. I hate this man. I hate him with such a passion.
I agree.
He is such a disgusting, perverted, twisted man, and he set out, much like the guy who created Wonder Woman, to change people's minds on things and to drop what I hate about him, and I can hate it because it's evil, is that he just didn't do something for himself. Okay, there are people out there who they drink or they party or they sleep around. They do it for themselves, right? Okay, you do your thing, right? We come to church and we'll talk about you get saved, right? But people like this, people like Woody Allen, set out to disseminate information on how to be a pedophile and get away with it, on how to be a pervert and get away with it.
Right.
He puts subliminal messages in movies to twist innocent minds. Michelle and I were just talking about it today because Matt Walsh shared an article where Mark Wahlberg, who's, realizing his Catholic roots again and wanting to encourage people to go and it's called a vocation, I guess, when you go to be a priest or nun. And he said he sat down with a priest and he said that he asked God to forgive him for doing the movie where he was a porn star.
Boogie Nights.
And Michelle said Boogie Nights, and I have never seen it. And I was just telling her that, he says he repented for doing that. And your reaction was...
No. You can't repent after that, okay? You cannot repent from that movie. Should I just tell them?
Sure.
I'm 12 years old, and I'm at a friend's house, and this movie gets played. Yes, Michelle, 12 years old. If you guys know what this movie is and you've seen it, then y'all need to repent too. You can repent from seeing it. You cannot repent from being in it. I'm just sorry. I'm totally kidding, but seriously, my little 12-year-old mind and eyes were ruined, sullied, okay, and what was so strange is earlier today, I woke up thinking about that movie. I haven't thought of that movie in like 20 years. I'm kind of very old. But seriously, I haven't thought about it in that long, and so it must have been the Holy Spirit. And so I know that my gut reaction was, no, he didn't repent. I'm sorry. Like, you can't repent from that kind of thing without a massive life change is what I'm saying. You can't remain in Hollywood and continue to do the same life that you have and actually be repentant, because the word repent means to turn and go the other direction. And so I'm not seeing, he would have to leave Hollywood and become a farmer before I believed that he was repentant.
Right. And this is all like I told you, a tumbling thing. Because earlier, Breitbart, I don't know if it has it up, but how this kind of got started was I was reading an article. Yeah, here it is. They even turned it into an article on Breitbart. Mark Wahlberg says he asked God's forgiveness for a Boogie Nights film. Michelle's standing there telling me at 12 years old, she saw, Mark Wahlberg, full frontal nudity as a 12-year-old girl. And that is, to me, I think it's child abuse, and not, kids don't. There should be warnings on things. This is double, triple X rated. This is, rated R doesn't mean anything anymore. And no person should ever be naked in front of a camera, ever.
It was bona fide pornography. He was playing a porn star, but you don't just, that's the thing where Leah and I always say, you know what, acting, you can act. Read a script and you own the play and you are acting. But when you are involved with malicious behavior, such as, showing your body or whatever, that is pornography. Right. You're not just playing a part, you're actually doing it.
See, the Hollywood is just coming out now, but this is a kind of a mirror for society.
Right.
What we see in Hollywood, we see every day. And I see specifically, we've talked about this in the church, where the church, I believe, has done more to turn their eyes on sexual and physical and verbal and emotional abuse than Hollywood.
Yes.
Christians, and you may be watching, and I'm going to guarantee you it's none of you.
Yes.
Right?
That's good.
But it's many people that I know personally. That there is a gospel that is a false gospel, and many people have left the church because of this, and many people aren't Christians because of this, and they have good reason to think that Christians are hypocrites because of this one thing. All growing up, everything you hear is forgive. Forgive, 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 forgive. Now, if you do not understand the essence of what Jesus means to forgive, your evil people will twist that
and use it against
innocent people. So most
of the forgiveness rhetoric that you're hearing is not being pushed by the innocent, the good, the loving. It's being pushed by the perpetrators.
And good,
the evil,
innocent
and the vile.
people want to do what God tells them to do.
Exactly.
So one of my very good friends in college was molested by her father. And she tells me that he asked her forgiveness, which it boggles my mind that I have heard this story. I'm 36 years old. I know I look much younger.
You can say
much younger. I don't like to tell my age.
That was like that guy in that movie we watched the other day.
It's hurtful because some of you think that we're so much younger, and I don't want you to know. But in my
here comes the comments that say no, I know.
Being 36 years old, not that I'm that old, but I have seen a lot. I know a lot. I've had a lot of acquaintances, and I've had a lot of friends, and so I have just in the back of my brain, I can pull out a Rolodex of abuse and sexual abuse victims and reactions. Like I can bring them to you.
Yes.
One after another, after another, after another, and what happened to the perpetrator. So in this particular case with a very dear friend, she says that I have forgiven him. He has come to me, and this happens in my Rolodex every time except for once. Every time except for one. Well, no, now twice. They're the new one. Where everybody in the churchy people.
I ain't got time for this, Jack.
They forgive.
No.
And to have your dad, who molests you, sit down and ask you to forgive him is creepy, because you should never, ever, 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 and I am going to lay down my foot with this one. If a relative or anyone has ever sexually molested you, you should never see them again.
Ever.
There are lines
you do not cross.
and if they get crossed, it is impossible
to go back.
That is a line. The Christians, churchy Christians will tell you to forgive and let them back in your life. But that is a line that can never be crossed. I'm not telling you that that person has to be murdered or has to go to jail forever. I'm not saying that God can't forgive them.
And you can with real forgiveness. Real forgiveness realizes that a person for their own soul and salvation has to have a repercussion.
Right.
Has to take responsibility.
Right.
And so if you never have them receive that, then they can't ever really repent before God.
The Bible says, let a thief steal no more, but to give back 7 times. So if someone is a child molester, they have to make up for that in some way. And in my mind, it is to put every child molesting male on one island for the rest of their lives. That is the only thing that I have come up with.
Okay.
You have a better answer?
I don't have a better answer.
I don't believe that child molesters can be reintegrated or should be reintegrated back into society. Especially once they have reached adulthood. Okay? So anyways, the Christians that I know of, they tell you to forgive your abusers all the time. But then they don't lay out what that means.
No. I wouldn't have a problem if the church...
This is what they mean. They do tell you what they mean. Don't be angry at them. Let it go. Don't pursue them in any way. Don't make them get in trouble in any way. Don't think about them negatively. That's what they mean.
They don't lay out what it should mean before God.
Right.
And what that is you can give it over to God and say, God, I give this person up to you. I'm letting it go. I'm going to allow you to heal me, but I'm never going to have that person in my life. And as the Lord leads, I will report them to authorities. You know, like that.
You can let go of your hurt and pain, but you do not need to let go of seeking justice ever.
Exactly. And that's the difference, because God is a God of justice.
Exactly. And for Christians not to seek justice for their fellow Christians, it boggles my mind.
All right. So let's move on to what you were getting at now that we...
Okay. So this director, David O. Russell, this is why this ties into Mark Wahlberg and how he obviously has not made a big life change, because he was in this movie with this chick right here, Amy Adams, and
Mom gave them my birthday.
Well, just in case.
Stop it.
It's coming up.
Okay.
But I don't know where you're at, but tell people not to feel guilty for things they do. But molesting a child is very serious, has to be stopped. It's like murder.
It is, yes.
And when you have murder, this conversation isn't for you. Parents yell at their children. Public schools destroy children. Their minds are destroyed by public schools. We're talking about really serious crime, and to molest a child is very serious. So I just think some people are trying to relate to the rapist or whatever.
And you don't need to do that.
You can never, a decent-minded person could
you
never
can't relate to them.
There's a different place in your mind. There's a difference between yelling at your kids. Everywhere I go, people are yelling at their kids, right? They get impatient. There is something that flips in a person's mind to find a child attractive. Adult to find, and it's an adult finding adult. I should also mention this. I do know a lot of people as kids who have done crazy things with their kids.
That's not the same.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That is not the same.
Okay, if you're a kid doing things with kids, put that in another category. That is not
something had to happen to you to start with,
and it's not pedophilia.
Right.
Okay. That's a whole nother topic for fixing the child and the victim of that child. Okay. But when you become an adult, a fully formed being, okay, then that's where the Woody Allen comes from. He has attraction to children, and he wants other people to have attraction to children, which is why he makes these movies. But Mark Wahlberg was in this movie, and I guess there's this director here who this is kind of his shtick. I'm going to show you just a couple things. He's yelling at. Sorry, a couple F-bombs.
And other curse words.
That's Lily Tomlin. This is this director. He comes in, he's just yelling, and it's on camera. Mark Wahlberg was in his movie. And this particular director went around grabbing people, saying horrible things into their ears. And Amy Adams said she was reduced to tears. She hated the
recent movie
American Hustle.
Did. Yeah.
And the reason I brought that up is because Mark Wahlberg is in this movie American Hustle. And so he says he wants God to forgive him for Boogie Nights, but he does this movie with this incredibly horrible director who got in fights with George Clooney.
He went around whispering things into people's ears. Oh,
yeah.
you did? Okay, I was in the comments. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Christian Bale even got up in his face when the guy was abusing Amy Adams.
But did you tell them that afterwards these people said that, well, he was a genius? Even though they were completely disturbed and distraught and emotionally on edge. I think Amy Adams said for how long? The whole time that they were filming. But the guy was a genius for grabbing, you told them that? Their body parts?
Yeah.
That's awful. Awful.
And trying to shake them up to be like
that is
shaken
not
up
a
during the movie.
Genius. That's psychotic.
So this particular director is allowed to run free, is my point. And Mark Wahlberg will work with him, even though he's well known to abuse people. He got in a fight with George Clooney, headbutted him. But to Woody Allen, this came out today, that he's working on a movie right now. It's currently filming. It's currently untitled, being filmed in New York City. And it has a relationship between a 44-year-old man and a 15-year-old girl. Selena Gomez is not the girl. She's in the movie. It's Elle Fanning with Jude Law.
And she's already so messed up.
Exactly.
She started out innocent, but...
So, it says it's reportedly called A Rainy Day in New York, and its story could end up resulting in another controversy for the director. Page 6 reports the movie stars Law as a middle-aged married man.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, we told you this before with Woody Allen. His one of his movies... where is it? I can't remember exactly what it's called. But he has he's a twice divorced 44-year-old guy who has in a relationship with a 17-year-old girl.
There's an obsession with now putting this forward in Hollywood to make it the norm.
Well, he has been doing this for years. And what I love about Twitter is that people on the right and the left are calling this guy out. Finally.
Now, it says here in this article that Fanning plays his 15-year-old concubine.
Weird, I know.
That's a very odd word to use in any kind of, pre-biblical timestamp.
And another thing that sticks out to me is that this concubine has this relationship with the older character. She says she's 21 years old, but it's not sure whether she is really 15 or she's a 21-year-old looking like a 15-year-old. But it's a 15-year-old something.
It's creepy.
He thinks he's with the 15-year-old.
That's right. And so that doesn't make it okay.
Right. And so she asked him, were all these women for pleasure or were you researching a project? There are key words that I have read in Marcuse, that I've read in Freud, that you read in the communist documents, which is it's totally not about workers' rights. It's all about perversion, where they use these words like polymorphosis perversity, which Freud used for sexuality of like infants to 5, and Woody Allen puts in his movies twice in a positive way. They use this word sex for pleasure. They use this word pleasure over and over and over again. And what they have done is they disseminate. They take Sydney, stop. Sydney,
it's gonna make it worse.
She's just gonna stop. She's gonna keep going.
I know.
Shh. Just take a nap. But anyways, what they do is they take this beautiful thing that God has given for marriage, and they take it apart. If you give her another treat, you're going to take her upstairs because she's on a...
But that wasn't a treat. It was one of the dental things.
Okay. She just spit it out. So the new film wouldn't be the first time Allen feature has centered around the relationship between older Manhattan. It was a 42-year-old with a 17-year-old played by a 16-year-old. Okay? Played by a 16-year-old who had never been kissed. He kissed her for the first time on screen. This is a pervert picks out a young-looking girl. Maybe she just turned 16. Maybe she's 15. Maybe he has a thing for 15-year-old girls.
Stop it.
You know, and he gets them. I mean, if you're a director, you want to be a pervert. You want to pick out people that you want to have relationships with on screen. It's absolutely crazy. He has often cast himself as a love interest opposite younger actresses. There was a 30-year difference with Helena Carter, a 31-year difference with Mira Sorvino and Mighty Aphrodite, while he was 37 years older than Juliette Lewis in Husbands and Wives. And he said it's a very sad thing for Weinstein. What I love about the comments is people are saying some wonderful things about Woody Allen, and that we're all watching him play out his fantasy over and over and over again. And for Christians and for conservatives, we have been throwing up our arms for decades, for years, saying, could the Hollywood be any more perverse? And nothing stops.
Right.
But the train's stopping. I don't think if this movie even gets finished,
anybody's going to see it.
And no one will want to go see this movie. You can't. There's not going to be an award. You can't stand up at the Oscars. It will be booed. Twitter has ripped this guy to shreds. And even the Daily Beast has come out.
I don't think they would have if it hadn't been for Weinstein. And now there's this big push to rip apart, pedophiles and sexual abusers and things like that.
So, is this Woody Allen? Is Woody Allen's new movie an autobiographical film? Woody Allen's fantasies of 15-year-old concubines, plus people who want to see that poop can kiss my rear end. Selena Gomez stands who defend her for working with Woody fans probably who defend her for working with Woody Allen are gross. Same to Elle Fanning. I think she means fans.
Must be a translation.
And it goes on, and I just love it. There's the Daily Beast actually had been in
why would these people allow their children to go up for these roles? And you know what? I think the answer to that is that they want their children to be stars just as much as their kids want to be. And it's kind of like when we were talking about Jennifer Lawrence and Gwyneth Paltrow and all of these women who are just now coming out saying that these things happened to them. They couldn't say it at the time because their career was on the line. And they made a choice to give up their humanity in order to remain a star. And so the parents are doing the exact same thing.
So this is a movie, The Wonder Wheel, I believe. This is a different one. Did world really need a new Woody Allen film about a dad sexually attracted to his kid, especially in light of Weinstein? I believe this is about Wonder Wheel that's coming out right now. Because that's that movie that she's in. So anyways, we can be done with that disgusting perversion. We should probably... I have so many stories today, but those two are probably... I can't really go much more. I'll have to say the Federal Reserve tomorrow. 1 in 5 Germans are now of a foreign background. Which that's
strange. But not surprising.
Terror cases. I had a couple things on Germany because this stuck out to me today. More terror cases in Germany quadruple in 1 year. 1 in 5 Germans are from a foreign background. Terror cases quadruple in 1 year. Any correlation? More evidence revealing the ridiculousness of the centrist position on immigration, namely that refugees can be seamlessly integrated into European society without a spike in crime or terror, has emerged courtesy of the German newspaper Welt im Sonntag. We were trying a German accent today. It turned into this weird Mexican Spanish thing. So, raus.
Schnell.
Which revealed Sunday that the number of terrorism-related cases investigated by German authorities has quadrupled over the past year. Get this. Prosecutors have opened up more than 900 cases this far, compared with just 240 in 2016 and 80 cases in 2013.
Oh, my gosh.
80, 240,
maybe they're just not starting to crack down. That was a joke.
You're cracking me up. Germany's federal police estimate 705 Islamist extremists willing to carry out terror attacks are active in the country, up from 600 in February when they tried to estimate. How they come up with these estimates, I don't know, attacking people's phones, following around to mosques. I don't know. But with those two stories, and it is getting late, I believe we need to wrap it up. We'll have to come tomorrow with
We wanted to come up with a new segment that we bring, besides the Make Babies for Your Country, because that's always really fun to talk about. And
in the disgusting news hour,
Diamond and Silk have the bowl of stupid, so we can't steal that. But in the strange news from around the world,
strange
or bizarre, you guys got
bizarre
news from around the world.
Bizarre news from around the world.
Worth a Look had sent me a screenshot of somebody that had posted something on it looks like their Twitter that said, "Yes, I am blanking my brother. No, it's not wrong, sinful, or shaming. We are in love. I am incest sexual." And then it's got a rainbow and it says, "Love is love." And I just thought, that can't be real, and it is, and so we have reached this point, and I think we all knew that it was coming, right?
I have to do this one if you're gonna do that one.
Where it's just depressing that when you push the envelope so far, and you have your 61 different genders, and that lady on Tucker took Tucker serious at that time, or what clip was it we were showing? And she was trying to say that something about Nancy Pelosi, they need more women, and he's like, well, why just, don't you believe in all the genders? There's like 60 some odd genders now, and she had to like think about it, and she's like, well, yeah, we should have every single one of them represent. And I just thought, oh my gosh.
She is paid.
When the line of thought goes down this way, there ain't no stopping it, and it goes to incest sexual. I'm incest sexual. That's illegal here in the United States.
It doesn't end there. It does not end there. This is a thing. I don't suggest that you
can't play it, but you can tell them.
Watch her Vimeo.
What's her name? Let's start with that.
This is a real thing. Her name is Maja
Smricker.
Very good.
Smricker.
She is from Slovenia. She is an artist.
No.
And she
this ain't art.
She did a video where she lays down on the ground with some twigs around her and some dogs sniff her. And the next thing you know, she literally films herself breastfeeding a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing now. And she films everything. You see everything. And I thought maybe when I clicked on it that it couldn't possibly like show, but she did.
MAJASMREKAR.
I really don't want people Googling it to look it up.
Don't Google it. Well, they just wanted to know how to spell it.
Now you don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
You know what? You'll be turned off from dogs for the rest of your life. But she not only did she breastfeed a puppy in her weird I listened to her explanation, and it's really satanic, and it's in mythology, and her idea was to cross barriers and to create a human dog hybrid in like Egyptian mythology. Did you tell about the cell? And so she took the doctor, she had to have them take an egg from her uterus and then join it with a dog cell.
But it wasn't a fertilized egg.
It was not fertilized because they just fertilized it with a dog's fat cell. But her idea, it was a piece of art to show a human-dog hybrid, a chimera. Yeah. She was trying to make a chimera. Yeah. And it was art, and she was actually given an award. So in Bizarro News today, you have the incestuous love and
the normalized
woman-dog chimera
breastfeeding puppies. And you would want to say to yourself, God, I don't want to be on this planet anymore. Donna Terry says these people are wasting air.
However, I had a real reason why I was bringing this up rather than just sensational news.
Bizarre news around the world.
And I believe it had something to do with God turning things around. At this point, I'm again re-shocked. Re-put into shock. Because and now I can't quite remember the positive spin I had for this.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I don't even know how to say this name. Stejin says, That crazy, endless gender stuff is killing itself. I bet kids hate it too. Horrible they bother young kids with this stuff that truly is sexualization of children. I feel very harmful and confusing to kids.
This is part. I'm going to end with this. So, I don't know. We have many people who follow us who are atheists, and we are Christians. However, I wanted to give a shout out at this moment to the atheists, because if you're watching us, you are sane atheists who, I'm thinking about people who would sit down over a cup of tea to discuss the origins of the universe. And you have to have a baseline of sanity.
Yes.
To go from there, to discuss religion, whether you're Mormon or Baptist or Methodist. Sane people sit down and we have discussions.
Yes.
Now, the reason we have all clumped into a group is because we are sane, and there's, over here, we want to have discussions on how can we fix the Federal Reserve? How can we, undo the deep state? How can we, educate people correctly?
Right.
And over here is a sideshow of freaks. It's the freak show. Okay, it is. There's a dude, it was on Twitter the other day. A dude is tweeting out saying, sometimes I feel like a woman and sometimes I feel like a man. I am not one gender. I feel both genders. And he had a beard, and so I said, well, that would be great. He could join the circus as the bearded woman.
No, it doesn't stop there. Because Worth a Look had also sent me another thing. Sam Smith, is that the same one?
Yes.
The UK singer.
Sam Smith.
Who's one, he said, I feel as much a woman as I am a man. Yeah, okay.
So,
yeah.
But I want you to see this guy.
That's good, bearded circus. The bearded woman in the circus.
Here's the guy. I believe he could take, in this right here, he could go and become the bearded woman in the circus. And so we have freak shows where you have the bearded woman, right? And and the rest of us don't have a third arm. We don't have an amphibian show with snakes with two heads. We paid $1 once to go into the amphibian show to see the turtles with two heads or the snake with two heads.
It's just kind of sad.
It's just sad, actually, right?
Yeah.
It is just sad. So this is just sad. It's a deformity.
When you see, like, the conjoined twins, you always just feel horrible.
Exactly.
That's not the way it was supposed to work.
Exactly. So he says he has a room full of heels. And so if wearing heels makes you feminine or feel like a girl, then I have a problem, because I don't have a chance or a time to wear heels.
No,
I wear muck boots that are definitely gender neutral.
I know.
And gym shoes.
Gender neutral again.
Dresses. We wear dresses, and so I think he wears dresses. That's a thing now.
Or if you're in the UK, they're called trainers.
Oh,
your gym shoes.
Yes. So, anyways, in wild and crazy news, this is called the Sanity Network, where
that's us.
Where even if we're talking about science,
the crazy Sanity Network.
If we're talking about science, or we're talking about maybe the origins of Halloween, we can sit down and have a discussion on truth, and we'll each present our facts.
Yeah.
Right. But when you have like science over here that says if you're a girl, you're a girl. If you're a boy, if you're a boy, and then you have a whole group of people who say, "But I feel this," and we stare at them and we say, "Well, that doesn't." Just because you feel like having a temper tantrum, or you feel...
No, that's not the right equivalent you want. Just because I feel like a blue giraffe doesn't make me a blue giraffe.
I'm going to end with this.
As a matter of fact, blue giraffes don't exist. So there is that. What else are we going to end with?
This is it. CNN has come up with the best ad ever.
Oh, boy.
And I have to... It looks like everybody has done all kinds of things about it. CNN's apples to bananas ad. Now, CNN
I don't know where you guys are, but a public school leads you into all kinds of feelings that aren't normal and natural.
That's true.
True.
I mean, I've watched and talked to kids about homosexuals. Well, he loves him, so shouldn't he be able to marry him? And they make you think the way they want you to think.
True story.
All your life movies are there. I mean, Hollywood boasts to make people feel certain feelings and think certain way. That's what these movies are made for. I mean, the mainstream media has been doing this your entire life. The government's been doing this entire life. So you think it's really your feelings. You have no idea how much time and effort they give these people millions of dollars to manipulate how you feel and how you think.
There was another one, I'll just forget bringing that one up, but
I know, I'm working it out.
Finland, maybe this was on Facebook. Finland posted, or Finland schools...
You didn't bring up the ad from CNN.
I have the CNN ad right here. This was really disconcerting to me. Finland has a very graphic child sex ed book showing... They do cartoons things over there in Scandinavia now, showing graphic sex. And so they literally have this mattress on the floor, and somebody's like, "Hey, that's classy." This like a dirty looking mattress on the floor, and showing people and showing kids these things, and that's in Finland, and it goes on to talk about LGBT things, but anyways, messing with kids' heads, because when kids see that, that's pornography, and that's how pedophiles
desensitize
children. To get them to...
like those ads we posted on Resistance Chicks Facebook.
If you haven't seen
Subway,
those, I think we might have covered those.
We didn't put them up in the background because we would not do that.
They're porn. Okay, so
homosexual
this
porn
is
in Subways.
CNN trying to tell you not to listen to us, basically.
From the genius of the cable news network, CNN. And that's what led to...
Let me see.
Like,
wait. You're not going to show me the ad? You're just going to talk about the ad? Here it is. Here's the Apple ad.
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again.
I have not seen this yet.
They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not. This is an apple.
So, okay, first of all, I feel like that's a push for the Apple brand, right? You know what I'm saying? Subliminal there. But I think what you're about to get to, I'm going to steal your punchline, is that's their line. That is their transgender, whatever, the cultural appropriation, you know what I mean? They're the ones that say, if I feel like a banana, I'm a daggum banana. I don't care if I'm an apple. I don't care if I came from an apple tree. I am a banana.
Well, somebody put up a little picture of a man like you would see in the restroom and said, "This is a man." Some people might scream to you and say, "I'm a woman, I'm a woman, I'm a woman."
I love it. I'm so glad they've done that.
But that is a man.
It's a man.
And that is what Resistance Chicks is all about. When you see a man, it's a man. When you see a woman, it's a woman. And in between there's hermaphrodites. And, they got issues. And you know what? It's like conjoined twins.
That's a problem. And they can just deal with their problem the way that it is, right? And let them figure it out. And I'm down with that. Whatever they decide is what they decide because only they can know.
But they literally have issues. They have a problem. It's called a disability.
Yes.
But when the body all says man.
Right.
Yo, man, son.
This is man's world. It's not. It's God's world. All right. So, do we have any comments to put in here? And most of all, just leave kids and their sexuality be. Leave them in peace for Pete's sake. Don't push them into puberty with confusion already in place. It's confusing enough by itself.
Amen.
Well said. I think that's probably good. They're carrying on a conversation. You can get gender reassignment and take expensive hormones for the rest of their life with good military pension. Yeah, they can do that now. That's insanity. Again. But you know what? The good news is, tell them the good news, Leah. We started out the show with it. Hillary Clinton is going to be investigated. She's being investigated. And her ship is going down. And it is sinking like the Titanic. And it ain't never coming back. What else do you have? You got more?
I'm sorry.
More bizarre news? What is
Human
this?
Ken doll wants to become Barbie. He has had chest implants and ab implants and butt implants and eyeball implants and hair implants and lip implants. He's had like $500,000 and now he wants to feminize his that was him before. Just a normal looking dude.
Well, sort of normal. It kind of looks creepy.
And so that's him now.
Dang. Shoot.
So this is what happens when we allow, when doctors allow mental problems to be real. No, you're not a Ken doll. No, we're not going to do a Simon Cowell and give you pec implants.
Oh my God.
Okay, this is not a thing.
So Mark says you're now quotable. He quoted you. Now I just lost it. The Left Eating the Left is fun to watch. That way I don't have to do it. Let's see. Beth says people are born with hormone imbalances that can be addressed naturally. Well said. I agree.
That's true. People have hormone imbalances all the time.
So Donna says that when her granddaughter was 6, she wanted to be a boy. She has brothers. Now she is 10 and prissy. I think we all went through, I don't know, not all of us, but I did. I went through the tomboy phase.
Is a huge swath of girls who want to be boys because there's just a thing. Because girls aren't developed into femininity yet. You know, you haven't developed it. You literally develop into these two genders. And so you definitely can't mess with kids with gender reassignment.
I agree. The pigs are doing fantastic, Mikey. They're gearing up for winter. We're taking out more hay. So now when we go out in the evenings, they kind of pop their heads up out of the hay because they have covered themselves.
Do a little video for you guys of that.
Yes, we will have to. We need to do kind of another farm
outside video.
Outside video. We haven't done that in a while. So do we have a song?
No.
No, we don't. All right.
I think to myself, I got to think of something. I'm going to think of something. I was trying to think of something about like God creating. He's got the whole world.
No,
I hate that
one.
song. Really, for some reason, I hate that song.
All right. We'll come to you guys with a song tomorrow. Are we coming back tomorrow? I don't even know if we're.
Hopefully.
All right. We'll try.
Wednesday. We
will try. We haven't done an update on Las Vegas in a while, and there are some stuff that I think that we can cover. That we will bring to you. Britt Baza had wanted us to cover our view of Halloween, and he had sent me some Druid links. So we'll be getting to that at some point this week.
We'll probably do that on Halloween.
Okay.
We'll probably do that on
That sounds
All
good.
Hallows.
And we'll also be covering the 400-year anniversary of the Protestant Reformation and Martin Luther. I really want all of our Catholic viewers to come and learn what maybe you haven't learned in the church, because we have a lot of Catholic friends.
Well, yeah.
And my mom was Catholic, my grandmother was Catholic, that simply you're not taught the truth of Martin Luther, why he did what he did, and how he didn't want to separate from the Catholic Church. And pretty much almost, not everything, but a lot of the things in his 95 Thesis you would agree with right now.
They actually took into consideration and did change.
So, very good. All right, don't forget that we go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our European and UK news. I think we're going to go to Poland this week. Somebody had sent us, I think it was Michael again, interpretation of an interview. So we'll be doing that. We may come back tomorrow. Our temperature has dropped. I don't know about yours, but it feels like fall is set. Winter is on its way. Get your decorations up. All right, you guys. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Don't forget, it is not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
Like, comment, subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thank you to all the moderators who were here tonight. I know Heather showed up. Maya. Let's see. Who else? I don't know. Gary was here for a minute and then he left. Worth a Look was here for a little while. I think and Texas Rancher, aka John Petter, was here. So thank you guys. We love you, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Maybe not. If not, we'll definitely see you Thursday.
Find us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Yeah.
And guys, go to bed excited and happy because we're on the winning side now.
We're winning.
God bless. Now you're gonna talk to him again.
Oh yeah.
I was cold,
It's time to go.
every day, so afraid. But you called my name.
I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night.